Our FFA Week programming continues today, and the topic today is agriculture education, Connecticut pride and national need. We've got three folks here to talk about agriculture education. Dustyn Nelson, a first-year student at UConn, and the Connecticut State FFA reporter, Sasha Diederich, a UConn senior who will be starting this teacher certification program for college graduate for Ag Ed this summer, and Glastonbury High School teacher Dolly Harvey to talk about agriculture education. Folks, good morning. Thanks for coming in today. And well, we've got the teacher here. Let's talk about that. Dolly, good morning. Thanks for coming in. The E.O. Smith and UConn grad. Tell me about your role at Glastonbury High School when it comes to Ag Ed.
When it comes to Ag education at Glastonbury High School, I'm one of the head teachers there, so I help oversee the department and work with students on their SAE projects, helping to run the FFA, and also I serve as the plant science and one of the natural resource teachers there. So day to day, I am running a greenhouse, interviewing students who are in 8th grade to come into the school, and planning for local and daily events, as well as our chapter will be celebrating FFA Week the week after vacation in 2 weeks. So we're getting ready and getting excited for that as well.
Yeah, the national celebration happens to be during what is a school vacation week for many schools around here. Does Glastonbury have school next week, by the way?
We do not have school.
Well, some people are adding class days back after the snow we've had. You have a greenhouse at Glastonbury High?
We do. We have a greenhouse at our high school, and this year they actually built one at the 6th grade school as well. So our students were able to interact, and we did some landscape planning and planting this summer over there at the 6th grade school. So,
what kind of things are growing in there?
Right now we're growing, we have a conservatory with a lot of different tropical plants, and we'll have a spring plant sale coming up with annuals. We do a poinsettia sale in December, and right now we actually have some plants that will be in the Connecticut Garden Show coming up at the Hartford Civic Center.
Are you a product of E.O. Smith Storrs Regional FFA?
I am. I graduated from E.O. Smith back in 2001, so it's nice to be back in my own neck of the woods over here.
Dustyn Nelson is here today. He's wearing his blue FFA jacket, and it says State Reporter 2010-2011. Dustyn, good morning. Thanks for coming in today. And what does the State Reporter do?
The State Reporter has a big job here in our state. We produce a scrapbook, and this year we're actually going along with all the new technology there is out there, and we're creating a digital scrapbook along with the digital scrapbook competition, which is going to be newly introduced here in our state for the students who are enthusiastic about the new technology. And along with the scrapbook, I also produce a newsletter that we just started putting out through the email. So we're doing e-blasts.
Tell me about your background in FFA and how long you've been a member of it, and what some of the special elements of that are for you.
I've been an FFA member since 2006. I went to Wamoga Regional High School in Litchfield, and I specialized in the plant science, and I'm looking to go into horticulture, and I've been a chapter officer along with the state officer this year, and I'm looking to continue my involvement in the FFA at state level. So.
Would you like to do the type of thing Dolly is doing now at Glastonbury High?
Yes, actually it's my agriculture teacher who inspired me to become an ag teacher, with all the inspiring all the different students and working with the day-to-day tasks of managing a greenhouse, producing all the different plants for the sales, setting up the different sales room displays for our fundraisers, and also even landscaping the school.
And Sasha Diederich from Canterbury is here today, UConn senior, who will be starting the teacher certification program. Tell me about your background in FFA.
I joined the FFA when I was in high school. I graduated high school in 2007. I stayed a member for another year, so I was a member about 5 years. For me, the FFA was just a part of what I did there. I had a very strong SAE. I competed in a lot of competitions. I went to nationals several times. And for me, it was just the leadership opportunities that it gave me. I got the chance to go to the Washington Leadership Conference. It was really an eye-opening experience for me. It's not something that you can do like normal students really don't get the chance to do things like that. So for me, it was really made possible by the teachers, because we had to go to our teachers and we had to be like, listen, we want to do this. And just seeing the response from our teachers and how they wanted to see us excel, they wanted to see us become leaders, and now I want to be a part of that. Now, like, my experience in the FFA is extremely, I would recommend anybody to do it, even if they're really not in love with agriculture. Just the leadership you get from the programs is amazing.
And the public speaking, too, right?
Yeah.
That's a big part of FFA. You said a very strong SAE. Number one, what is an SAE? And number two, what was your SAE?
Okay, it's a supervised agricultural experience. So it's basically taking what you learned in the classroom home. So for me, I had about 60 show chickens that I raised, bred, I hatched eggs, I showed them at fairs, I sold their eggs to like friends and family in the local community. So it went for me for showing them, I had to wash my birds, I had to prepare them for shows, I had to make them look good. A part of that was also volunteering at the Brooklyn Fair's Poultry and Rabbit Barn, which I'm now the superintendent of. So being there, you just gain the full experience of, okay, I learned about chickens in class, now like I have to learn to take care of them, and if they get sick, what do I do about it? So it's really all about taking everything you learn in the class and making it happen at home, so to basically prove that you know what you're doing.
Now, earlier this week, we had Lebanon Regional FFA and Storrs Regional FFA students in the studio here. You from Canterbury went to Killingly High School and were part of their FFA program there, right?
Yes.
And what were some of the things that you did with them, some of the roles you had with that chapter?
In the Killingly FFA chapter, I was assistant reporter and secretary. So I was always a part of the officer team. I always wanted to be a part of the officer team, even before, because at Killingly you can only become an officer when you're a junior or senior. Before that, I was like chairman of committees. I tried to go on any trips that I could go on to. I really advocated the program throughout the rest of the high school. Once I was on the officer team, it was all about like getting the members to be happy, getting them to want to join the program, getting people to stay in the program, and really just furthering it in the community, taking it further to volunteer opportunities and all kinds of things like that.
Dolly, what are the day-to-day tasks of an agriculture teacher?
The day-to-day tasks of an agriculture teacher are very interesting compared to a regular teacher. So it's not something where you just go in and at the end of the day you go home and you correct papers. Sasha was talking about her SAE project, and the great thing about having an SAE is this is where you get some experience outside of school that's going to help prepare you for your future. I had an SAE project back when I was in high school. I had many throughout the years, everything from raising rabbits and chickens to raising horses and taking care of them. And also my junior and senior year at E.O. Smith, I was the greenhouse manager. One thing that's interesting about an agriculture teacher is while you might work during the school day, most of the contracts in Connecticut are 12 months, so we work throughout the summer. And what's great about that is we actually go out and visit our students, visit their projects, whether they're at home, whether they're at businesses or internships. Some students will do projects around the school. So one of the things we get to do is see our students outside of the school day and really get to give them the extra support that they need. So everything from SAE involved projects, students keep a record book, which is going to teach them skills for their future in record keeping. We have different courses depending on subject area. So we have animal science courses, the plant science area, natural resources, and there's also mechanics teachers. So some teachers may be out teaching tractor driving. Some teachers may be out working with students with setting up beehives or sampling rivers. Doing different things with water. You might be growing plants, you might be shearing a sheep. So it's the regular day-to-day academics coupled with some great hands-on activities. So it really helps the students take home what they're learning in a whole different way.
Dustyn, why are agriculture and agricultural education relevant and important in Connecticut?
Agriculture has become very important, especially in our economic climate that we have nowadays. Agriculture is the most important industry. By 2050, with our population doubling, we're going to have to find ways to feed that large population, and agriculture education is really the future of how we're going to feed that large population. And especially here in Connecticut, it's important because we're such a diverse state in all the different industries. In Connecticut specifically, horticulture and the green industries associated with it, such as the greenhouse growing industries and nursery and landscaping, it makes up over half of our agriculture, over $1 billion worth of income per year. And it's in all 169 towns in Connecticut.
Sasha, why are many of these programs, like the one that you were involved in, called regional?
These programs are mostly called regional because basically the state wants to give everybody the chance to be able to go to an ag education center. So instead of putting one teacher in every school in the high school in the state, there's regional schools that kids apply to and go to. And like I said, they state fund the programs, most of them except for one, which is a endowment funded program. That way, like I said, all kids get the chance to go to these high schools so that no one is ever left out of the opportunity that even if your high school doesn't have an ag program, you have the opportunity to go to an ag program. That's basically the idea.
Approximately how many students are enrolled in Connecticut ag programs?
About 2,600 students are enrolled currently, and those 2,600 students are very lucky because Connecticut is the only state in the nation that has the regional ag centers that gives the opportunity to every student in the state to go to an ag program.
And how many ag teachers are employed in these programs?
Right now there's around 125 teachers throughout all the centers.
Do we have a shortage of ag education teachers in the state?
Not in Connecticut. In Connecticut, we're very lucky to have many people who have become interested in the field, but nationally, there is a large shortage of them, and we're lucky because in Connecticut we have ag centers with 2, 3, 4, or maybe even more, up to some have even 15 or more teachers, where there's other programs in the country where there is one teacher teaching all the areas of agriculture.
Now, would that mean that there are good job prospects outside of Connecticut for folks who want to get into ag ed, such as the two of you?
For me, I've always loved the idea of teaching agriculture, but I understand that in Connecticut it's going to be a hard job. And entering into these programs, one of the first things they tell you, especially in Connecticut, that this is a great program that's going to get you your certification, but you have to be willing to step out of the state and look for other jobs. It's not that you're definitely not going to find a job in Connecticut, and it's great that there's so many teachers here, but for me, I have family in upstate New York. That's where I'd like to go, and to be honest with you, I probably will find a job there because, like he said, the national need is way different than it is in Connecticut.
I heard Pennsylvania might be on your radar, too.
Yes, Pennsylvania and New York.
What's the tie there?
Well, my husband's family lives right on the border of New York and Pennsylvania, so we just want to live within an hour or two of them, especially because he's in the military, so we want to stay close to family. So,
what subjects are taught in ag programs?
There's basically 4 main subjects here in Connecticut: animal science, plant science, natural resources and environmental, and mechanics. Some of the centers in the state also have an aquaculture program as well. So one of the things that is unique about Connecticut, like the other two were saying, is that since we are able to have 3, 4, 5, 10 teachers per center, teachers are able to specialize and really give students a core curriculum. However, for students that are preparing for a future career in agriculture, as Sasha and Dustyn are, it's great to have that diversity where you're not just a animal science person, where you're a plant science and in natural resources. We can all also benefit from learning about mechanics.
Tell me more about aquaculture, Dolly. I notice here, as far as the breakdown of all the different regional VOAG programs in the state, I've got a listing here, and they also show the number of teachers. And 2 of the programs in the state that employ the most VOAG teachers are aquaculture centers. One is the Sound School, New Haven Regional Aquaculture Center, and the other is the Bridgeport Regional Aquaculture Science and Technology Education Center. So I think that when people think of FFA and they think of ag education, they don't think of aquaculture. So what should they know about that?
Aquaculture is a new and upcoming industry, and especially when Dustyn was talking about feeding future populations, the aquaculture centers are not just fish farming. The New Haven Sound School also has a lot to do with boat building and different things that would be done along the Long Island Sound and along the shore in Connecticut. So that is really a great place for students to be able to have that opportunity to look at future careers and learn about the new technologies and the new industries that are coming into and have also been around in the state. So depending on the demographics where centers are located, you're going to see a different diverse curriculum about what's taught in that school.
And another part of the aquaculture programs is, along with their new renovations, they have a simulation center where they can take different ship sizes, such as freighters or fishing ships, and load those into the program, and then they can teach their students how to navigate those ships throughout the open waters, ports all over the world. So it's really a comprehensive education they're learning about the aquaculture industry.
Now, lobster fishing or harvesting is a big business along the Connecticut shoreline. Would that fit in the category of aquaculture as well?
That would fit in that category.
Dustyn, what is being done to help meet the national need for agriculture teachers?
The National Association of Agriculture Educators puts on what they call Teach Ag Day, which is held in March, and that day is used to promote teaching agriculture education. It allows the ag teachers to promote this to their students and show what it's really like to be an agriculture teacher. And the National Association of Agriculture Educators has put a lot of money into creating curriculums and games and activities to really show the students what agriculture education is all about and help them meet that national need.
So one thing they say is tag your replacement, or you should be training your replacement. So I always joke with my plant science teacher, Mrs. Terrell at E.O. Smith, a couple years ago, that she said, "You're a woman after my own heart and my job." So, not only learning about agriculture, but having a great role model is another wonderful thing about the agri-science program. We will be at Glastonbury High School and many schools in the state celebrating Teach Ag Day and letting our students know how much we do love our jobs, as Sasha said. You might just suggest to your teacher, "I'd like to do this competition," or "I'd like to go to this convention," and through hard work, you would be able to get there. This year we took from Glastonbury High School students to the National FFA Convention, and we hadn't taken students in a number of decades. So it was amazing to be able to take them with the support of our parents group and our school community to take students and let them share in a national organization, being the FFA, and really get to learn their leadership skills and enhance things that they're learning day to day.
And the tagline for the Teach Ag Day is "Do what you love what you do." And it really comes down to, when you look at the ag teachers in our state, they really do love what they do and love their students and helping them out. So they're such an inspiration to everyone.
So with all the different areas that are available in agriculture, I wonder, Sasha, why it is that you picked to be a teacher. What is it about teaching ag education that you find to be exciting?
Well, basically it comes down to the simple thing. When you sit and you decide what you want to be when you grow up, you sit there and you're like, gee, what if there was this fantastic thing that people let you do to take what you know and love and teach it to other people? And when you realize that that does actually exist, I just couldn't imagine anything other than teaching my passion. I have such strong passion for agriculture, and I understand it. It's like some people love math. I hate math, I want to be an ag teacher. I've worked on horse farms. I've been involved in those kinds of things, and it's fun, but there's just no other joy and satisfaction being able to teach it and watch somebody learn and walk away with wow, now I really love agriculture. Handing that down there's nothing better than that.
Dustyn, why do you want to be an agriculture education teacher?
It takes something that I'm very passionate about with the horticulture, and it allows me to teach that to the students, and you get to inspire students every day, and to see the end result, that's your pride and joy right there, is to see those students graduate, go on, work in the field, become successful, and that's really what ag teachers love to see, is they want their students to succeed, and they do anything to help them succeed.
You were talking during the break, Dustyn, something about what you like about the UConn program. Expand upon that.
I really like the UConn program because it allows the students who are in it to not only get their degree in agriculture education, but they also have the option to get a degree in whatever area of agriculture they would like, such as horticulture, turf, animal science, natural resources. So it really allows them to expand their education on what they are passionate about, so then that way they can better educate the students.
Dolly, when you were their age, did you have the same thoughts about agricultural education? In other words, that when you were their age, did you see yourself being what you are now back then?
When I was in college and even in high school, I just knew that what I was learning and what I was doing is something that I enjoyed and something that I was having fun doing every day. So I was very involved in the floral design. I still am very involved in contests throughout the state with that. And I loved being in the greenhouse, and I loved working with plants. And so I just thought about, what is it I want to do where I'm going to still continue to have fun and enjoy what I'm doing every day. And every day when I get up and I go to work, I know that I'm having fun with what I'm doing. And the other great thing about the agri-science program is that these two here have also said today that their teachers had a huge impact on them. And seeing your students be successful is not just students you have for a semester or for a year. With the agri-science program, students apply to these different schools and they're accepted, and they're with their teachers in that program, and they're given an advisor, and they're with those teachers for 4 years. So you're developing your students for their future. You're teaching them about agriculture. However, along the way, through the FFA and their SAE projects, you're teaching them career skills, personal growth, leadership that they don't get in regular classes. Students are learning about public speaking. They're learning about how to present themselves for interviews, resumes. They get help preparing for college. So it's really, you have these students, but you're helping them grow for their future. So many do go on to careers in agriculture and many do not, but the lessons that they take, that you're providing them with, are meaningful and they're going to last throughout a lifetime. So I feel fortunate that I was in an agri-science program. My sister is a sophomore right now at E.O. Smith, and the experiences that she's having, I just am so excited that she's able to have those opportunities through this program. So I just see students going on and really excelling at anything they do because of the experiences that they've had. And through the FFA, they can do these things. And our school has been fortunate in the last few years to have an active parent group alumni association. So for anyone out there that's listening today that was an FFA member, there are still ways through your alumni association and parents association that you can get involved and help students and give back the things that you've gained as well. So it's always something that's there for you, even as you move on throughout life. So we're just happy that we can provide that.
And because the students spend the 4 years with these teachers rather than maybe having other teachers in the regular high school setting for just 1 year or maybe 2 if you're lucky, you get to have these for 4 years, so they really become your mentors. Mm-hmm. So they really make a large impact on your life. And you not only have that through high school, many students, their teachers continue to mentor them throughout the college process and going into careers.
Sasha, we mentioned that you're going to be starting the Teacher Certification Program for college graduates for ag education this summer. It's the TCPCG. What does that entail?
Basically what it's going to entail for me, it's like a jam-packed year of, like, this is how you become a teacher. But in May, when I graduate, about 2 weeks later, I'll start the program. And from what I understand, I haven't gone through it yet, but the summer will be a lot of going to see other programs. It's going to be like, this is how you manage a classroom, how do you, basically to prepare me for the fall, because in the fall, you student teach. And that's what you spend most of your time doing full time. So the summer prepares you to go into that setting and be successful. Where in the spring you do you have to take an elective, I think, at UConn, the Storrs campus in your area that you want to teach, as well as it's just a cleanup of what you did before to like reflect on that. I guess it's called a reflective period, where you do a little bit of research and you do some more work just on curriculums and do everything you can to prepare you to enter the actual career of teaching. So from what I understand, this is an excellent program that makes excellent teachers, and I'm excited to be doing it. I understand that it's going to be a lot of work, that there aren't any breaks, because it's 2 summer semesters and fall and spring, so I'll get not many breaks, but it's what I want to do, so I'm willing to take every necessary step to get there. So,
did you go through that, Dolly?
I followed a different path. I took some classes with TCPCG and through the School of Education, but I was fortunate enough to be in an area of need with the horticulture at Glastonbury High School, so I was taking part-time classes while teaching for 3 years. So,
how many years of college does it take to become an ag ed teacher?
Generally, it's with the programs offered through UConn, it's 5 years, and there's 2 options with that. There's the integrated bachelor-masters, where you get your bachelor's in agriculture education, and then you can also choose to double major in an agriculture field, and then you work on your graduate year on a degree in education. And then as Sasha has spoken about, there's also the teacher certification program for college graduates, which allows you to get your bachelor's degree in the area that of agriculture that you want expertise in, and then you come back for your 5th year and you get your teacher certification.
Are all ag teachers former high school ag students and FFA members?
Absolutely not. It's not a requirement. You don't have to be an ag student to be an ag teacher. It's obviously something wonderful, and I hope that everybody decides to choose that path, but absolutely not. Just because, like we said, in Connecticut, everybody has a chance to go to an ag center, where other states that may not be the possibility. It may be that their ag school is too far from them, they didn't even know about it. I mean, Connecticut does a very good job of recruiting at other high school, middle schools, and letting people know that it's there, but still some people just don't know that it's there, they didn't have the opportunity. But it doesn't mean that they don't love agriculture and they don't have the passion for it and that they don't want to teach it. So absolutely, you can go in and teach if you haven't been in an ag program.
Why isn't agriculture education listed as a major for freshmen applying to UConn?
I'm not actually positive about that, but if you know Pat Jepson, she's the right person to talk to about it. When I walked in there, I knew what I wanted to do. I went to their Radcliffe Hicks 2-year associate program, so it is offered to them, actually. It's not an incoming thing. I think it's mostly...
you start your education as a junior or senior, so they start out taking your subject area, and then you get prepared through that. So they'll help you select courses when you get there. Like she said, Pat Jepson is a great help up at UConn, and she's really helped the 3 of us throughout our paths here. She's the director of the advisory center, and she also teaches one of the courses at TCPCG, and she's always willing to help prepare
I also
students.
think that because agriculture is such a special thing and there's so many diverse things inside of it, it's very important, and I think the schools recognize that it's very important for students to be well knowledgeable in their experience, like whether they want to be animal science or horticulture. It's very important for them to know their stuff about the industry they're going to teach, rather than just go ahead and start learning how to teach, because if you don't know what you're going to teach, it's hard to learn how to teach it. So I think that they want you to focus on the actual area you want to teach before you actually start learning how to teach it, which was why I chose the 5th year program for TCPCGA.
Dolly, what was your CDE back in Storrs Regional FFA, and did it help you prepare for what you're doing now, teaching ag at Glastonbury?
Absolutely. CDEs are career development events that students can compete in many different areas. I was a member of the Floriculture CDE, which the couple different parts of that have to do with general knowledge, plant ID, both scientific and common name, and also a team event. So preparing for the CDE, learning about different plants, learning how to work as a team and with a team helped me to get ready for any career in that area, but also to now have a team of students of my own that I coach for the floriculture event.
What's the Praxis exam?
The Praxis exam is a test that students take to make sure that they have the essential academic and content skills. In Connecticut, for the agri-science, you need to take Praxis 1. So it's just a test in reading, writing, and math. And some students will be able to waive this based on their SAT scores. And at this time, there is no Praxis 2 test for agriculture because it is so diverse and there's so many areas. Other areas such as math, English, science, those areas need to take an additional Praxis 2 test.
And I think this topic came up briefly earlier, but what is Teach Ag Day?
Teach Ag Day is, as we'd spoken, a program putting on by the National Association of Agriculture Educators, and it's really to help the students see what ag teaching is all about, and to help encourage the students to go into the field and help inspire more students, and also help in filling that national shortage that we have.
And the difference between a college degree and a teacher certification, what is that?
The difference between a college degree and a teacher certification is the teacher certification is issued by the state of Connecticut, and it says that they've met the qualifications to teach in our state, whereas the degree from a university is that you've gone through all the classes in the general education content areas, and that you're well informed on the subject matter that you have gone to major in.
Dustyn, what's being done through agriculture education to reach out to the community?
A lot has been done with not only agriculture education but the FFA also to reach out to the community. It can range anything from the days of service that the National FFA puts on at events such as our National FFA Convention in Indianapolis, Indiana, or at Washington Leadership Conference down in Washington, D.C., where students go and they will clean up a local park, or they'll go to a cornfield and harvest the corn, and then that gets shipped off to the food banks in the Washington, D.C. area, and feeding thousands of families right there in the area. So there's a large impact not only on the students but the community. They love giving back to the community. Individual high schools can run programs at the elementary schools with agriculture education and reading stories about agriculture to the students. We also, at Wamoga Regional High School in Litchfield, they had a program called Spring Plant Day where elementary school students were able to come into our school, and while their parents shopped at our spring plant sales, the elementary students came in and we worked with them to create floral arrangements that they could bring back to their mothers, which was in perfect timing for Mother's Day. We worked on repotting house plants with them. So we really enjoy working with the community and making it a better place.
Sasha, you'd be good to ask this considering the fact that you hope to teach in somewhere in New York or Pennsylvania, you said, but are UConn Ag Ed graduates competitive for teaching positions in other states?
I think that it really depends on the need in the area, but from what I understand, the programs that are in Connecticut, there really aren't any other programs like this, even in New England. The only other college is in New Hampshire, and they have like a different sort of program to get your certification, where there aren't many programs like the ones that you can have, where you can go for your 5th year, where you get a certification and a master's, as well as good hands-on experience with teaching. It's a competitive program. It's hard to get into at times because the programs do accept not only ag students, but students who are trying to teach math or science or history. So I think this year there are 8 in the TCPCG program, more than they've ever had at this point. So to get jobs, I feel like you're just as good a candidate as anybody else, especially because a lot of other states, because of the lack of teachers, they're pushing for people who just have bachelor's degrees or experience in the industry to become teachers. So going to another state, having your certification and your master's in the area that you want to teach in is certainly giving you that one up, I feel like, to get you into the teaching programs.
Now, a lot of teachers want to do elementary or middle school education. It sounds to me like the two of you, with this agriculture approach, you're talking more of the high school age. Am I reading that correctly?
For the most part, yes, because it's a very complex, I feel like, industry. But really, it's almost like a tech school kind of thing where you want to prepare kids to move into the industry. But my opinion is that agriculture, teaching kids about this industry, can be at small ages of 1 or 2 to people who are older and now want to be coming into the industry, or just even have chickens in their backyard. So it doesn't have to be directed only at that. It's just that that's where the jobs are now.
And most of the agriculture education programs are at high school level. Here in Connecticut, that is our main focus, is at the high school level. In other states across the country, there's also middle school programs. But as I had spoken about before, giving back to the community, our ag ed programs really take the knowledge they learn and they spread it throughout the community through all ages, elementary school students all the way up to people who have even been retired, who can come and visit the schools.
Also, the certification you get isn't just for high school level. It gives you the certification to be able to teach at lower level schools. So it doesn't have to be high school.
Sasha, how is agriculture more than just traditional farming?
Agriculture is so much more than traditional farming at this point, because it just entails so much more. As far as we were talking about aquaculture earlier, it talks about aquaculture, horticulture, like raising plants in your backyard. It talks about having chickens in your backyard, but not just that. It talks about like the business end of it. There's just so much more involved as far as like veterinary care. I mean, the United States, especially New England, has so many pets. Everyone has a dog. Everyone has a cat. So agriculture also entails people who want to become veterinarians, or somebody has to learn how to feed those animals. So it's not just animals. It's not just aquaculture. It's not just plants. It's everything that entails taking care of the land, especially with conservation becoming a huge thing in this country. Agriculture absolutely is about conservation and understanding how to take care of the land so that it will be there for us, to feed us, for us to live on and live off of for the rest of our lives on this entire earth. So it's not just about like raising a cow. It's about everything that you eat, and it takes from food science and how something tastes the way it does is what agriculture is about. It's not just about raising the cow.
And with all our expansion in technology, it really allows us to integrate it into the traditional agriculture. Agriculture has gone from working in the fields and harvesting crops, and now it could extend to working in a laboratory on a new genetic breed of corn to help feed our national hunger shortage that'll be upcoming with our growing population.
Dustyn is a first-year student at UConn. What are some of the courses you're taking this semester?
Currently, I'm taking the general education courses. I'm at the Torrington branch of UConn, and by taking them at the branch of UConn, it allows me to have the smaller classes and get that good basis of my education, and then allow me, when I transfer up to Storrs, to really focus in on my horticulture passion.
And Sasha, you'll start the teacher certification program coming up this summer. What are you doing now? Just finishing up your regular degree work?
Yes, I'm finishing some of my regular degree work as well as trying to become involved with the FFA and the ag programs that are now, so that when I enter into the program, I'm not like just totally overwhelmed by everything that's happening. I'm trying to make sure I'm like getting into classrooms, being involved in the different programs that the FFA has. But really, it's important for me and for most students that you don't get senioritis, that what you're doing now is still important to what you want to do in the future. Just because I'm in the program doesn't mean that what I'm doing now isn't going to help me. So I'm just doing everything I can to continue learning and just keep getting into the towards the program, because I can't just drop everything now.
And that's good advice that Sasha gave. Don't get senioritis. That's even good for the high school students out there too, who are looking to transfer into any college really, and a program. And it's really especially important in agriculture, since it is the most important industry because of our it feeds us, it puts the clothing on our back. It's so vital to our everyday lives.
Agriculture, education, Connecticut pride, and national need. That's been our topic this morning for our FFA Week programming. That's Dustyn Nelson, first-year student at UConn, and the Connecticut State FFA reporter, Sasha Diedrich, a UConn senior who will start the teacher certification program for college graduates for Ag Ed this summer. And earlier, Glastonbury High School teacher Dolly Harvey was here to talk about agriculture education. Thanks very much for coming in this morning.